After Joseph had revealed himself to his brothers in Egypt to their great surprise, he then dispatched them to go back to his father, to their father in Canaan, to share with him the wonderful news that his son Joseph was still alive. Well, the brothers arrive back. They tell Jacob, Od Yosef Chai, Joseph is still alive. Jacob is distrusting, he's uncertain, he's weary, and so only after hearing the entire story, Jacob cries out, Od Yosef Beni Chai, indeed Joseph, my son, is still alive. Our sages point out that he seems to use a superfluous word, Beni, my son. Od Yosef Beni Chai, Joseph, my son, is still alive, is superfluous, the word Beni, because it's obvious who Joseph is. That's the character that's featured in this whole story. So why use the term Beni, my son, when it's unnecessary? To digress and then come back, we are told that when the brothers came down to Egypt, they did not recognize Joseph, but Joseph recognized them. What does it mean? Well, simply put, Joseph had changed over 22 years, and therefore they did not recognize him. But that's on the external level. On a deeper level, however, what it means that they did not recognize him is that he was in Egypt, in the most immoral and corrupt place in the entire world at the time. And nonetheless, he was able, in that most diversified, exposed and challenging environment of Egyptian society, was able to nonetheless maintain his righteousness and his moral standing. And therefore the brothers did not recognize him because they could not conceive of such a thing. Them being shepherds, enclosed and sort of disconnected from society, they could not imagine or envision or envisage such a situation of being so exposed to the world and nonetheless retaining his level of piety. Going back to the original question, why does Jacob use the extra word Beni, my son, when referring to Joseph, saying Joseph, my son, is still alive? It is because Jacob had heard the entire story and that it described who Joseph was, his character, the type of person he was, and Jacob realized that Joseph was still his son. In other words, he had not departed or disconnected himself from his roots, his source, from Jacob, his father, and therefore uses the word, not only is Joseph alive, but Joseph, my son who I had left 22 years ago, is still my son, following in my footsteps in the pathway of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And in so doing, Joseph achieves admiration from his brothers, pride and satisfaction to a father, and throughout Jewish history, he gains the title of righteousness, Yosef HaTzadik, an individual who was able to withstand the greatest of challenges, who was able to triumph in a situation of great adversity, and in so doing was able to establish a legacy which inspires generations, including till today.